I want to share your optimism and the optimism of some other persons that following the intervention of the president, there will be some level of tranquility and movement in the governance of Ondo State. However, I think it might be too early to be overtly optimistic. The coming days and weeks will reveal, the kind of impact that the president's intervention, has, and of course the amenability of the parties to the dispute in going through with the terms of settlement, so to speak, that they had, with Mr. President. That said, I think it is important for us to do a little historical introspection, on this phenomenon of chief executives of states, and even at regional and national levels, having spat, so to speak, with their deputies. And it goes as far back as pre-independence. A lot of people are aware of the spat between the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo and his then deputy, S.L. Akitola, who by every account should have been seen or was seen and perceived as the de facto deputy leader of the action group at that time. And since the return of democracy to Nigeria first in 1979 and then since 1999, indeed we've only had two presidents who didn't have public spat with their vice presidents, and those are Alhaji Shehu Shagari and the immediate past president, Muhammadu Buhari. You recall, what happened between General Obasanjo, Chief Obasanjo, President Obasanjo, and his vice president, Atiku Abubakar, which, imploded and, resulted in a series of, court cases. And of course, it was capped, with some copious references in a book by Mr. President himself. Until date, it's difficult to say whether those have been settled. Now, you also had a similar experience, even at the state level. Indeed, this phenomenon, to me, as a strategist and as a leadership enthusiast, calls to question the leadership culture, at least the political leadership culture in Nigeria. A situation where people that are virtually handpicked by their principals, end up, having public fight, while in office. It calls to question the capacity of such leaders and the character, of their deputies. Because, these are not people imposed on them. In most cases, these are people who were handpicked from so many. I recall, in this case of Ondo State, that at the swearing in for the second term of Arakori, he lauded, his deputy to high heavens, to the extent that he gave, the public the indication that indeed this is somebody I am anointing as a likely successor. Because I remembered very clearly, making, reference to, what, you hear in religious houses about me decreasing and you, increasing. Yeah. So, whereas all of that, are niceties, gone. So, for me, beyond what is happening in Ondo State, this has become a phenomenon. And it calls to question, like I said, the ability, the capacity also, of people that are in public office, especially political office, strategic political offices, to manage, contending interest and strike a balance. I know that perhaps in this instant case, it might even be beyond the dramatis personae, you know, in all of this. But it is something of worry, and that is why I think we are not, you know, far away from target by bringing this discourse to the public space and examining the ramifications.